All right, everybody, what is going on? It is Gabe, and man, I am ready to go for a ride. I don't know about you, but hey, it's still nice out, and might as well go for a ride. And I'm sure probably a lot of you have already started school, right? Like, we've got over 33 different schools. Did you know that? That's a lot of different schools that are represented. And how many of you homeschool, or you go to a school down the street? Or some of you go to school. I know that some of you live here and then you got to drive all the way and go to a different school down here. I talked to some where like one school is like 30 some odd miles away, but you drive there every day. Like, people go to school all over the place. I don't know if I can ride my bike 30 miles every day. I'd run out of breath. But anyway, I just wanted to say hey and connect with you guys because today is the fifth Sunday of the month. Did you know that there's only five fifth? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks, cousin Ray Ray. Yeah, there's only five. There's only 5 fifth Sundays. There's only 4 or 5 of them in a year. So it's kind of unique. So anyway, I thought since we're doing that, I thought we would mix things up. And today we would have a 5th Sunday fun day. Say that fast. 5th Sunday fun day. So hope you enjoy, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so we've been talking about this entire month about 2 Timothy 1:7. And it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." Now, some of you, if you are at either Ottawa, Kansas City, Kansas, or Olathe, when you come in and you say that verse, you're able to get a sticker or something that then at the end of service, you can get a prize. And what's neat about that is that when you apply that word to your heart and you're able to memorize it, you can be rewarded. But the thing that I want you to remember is that we don't want to just remember it just to say it. We want to remember it to be able to apply it. Like apply it. Like, have you ever gotten glue and put it on a piece of paper and then you get another piece of paper and you stick them together? Well, you applied the glue to the paper, to the piece of paper, and now they're stuck together because you applied it together. And the same thing, we want to be able to apply God's word to our life so that they are stuck together. And that's what I want you to do when we think about this verse. And if you would, take a moment with me. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. And as we learned about last week, sound mind can be self-control. So as you think about that, let's start out with the first one, power. What is it that you remember, and what is it that comes to mind when you hear the word power, especially with our verse this month? All right, now there's a lot of different answers for power, and I love that the ultimate power of what we can receive. And I know that some of you are saying that, and especially some of our leaders, we're talking about that. In power, there's a lot of things that can come about with power. But remember, the verse talked about how God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love. Now, do you remember how we talked about love? And I know that I talked about how much I love pizza. Thin crust with butter. Yeah. What do you think, Stephen? And if it has some of the crust on there, do you like that? Yeah. Oh, I know. I love that. Yeah, that's good. I love pizza. That's what? We're not talking about. Oh, it's a different kind of love. Yeah, that's what I meant. Okay, so what I was talking about when I was talking about love is that we're talking about how God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, which we talked about, and love. So what do you think about that love is? And some of you might know from some of our other memory verses, you might have heard what the greatest form of love is. And what is love? And what do you think about when you hear about love? And how can that love help us when we are in a position or sometimes we are fearful? All right, so we've talked about almost all the different parts of the verse. Remember, For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And we learned that in the Bible how it says a sound mind, that also means self-control. And if you were with us, we talked about a lot of different things, about things we would like to control, things that control us, all these kinds of things. But remember, the most important thing when it comes to self-control, and I don't know about you, but I have a control. Do you know that I can control my TV from my phone? Funny, they're watching a show and they were watching it, and all of a sudden, boop, I changed it to cartoons. You don't want to do that, especially if your mom's watching a show and it's like one of those shows they really watch. So, yeah, if you do have your control, don't change it. What? I know, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to change. Keep going. But what I'm talking about is our verse about how God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind, self-control. And about how we can have control. We all like to have control. Remember, I was talking about how I had a remote and I can control the TV. But the thing that we need to remember, and the thing that if you were with us last week, you just heard about, but it's great to remember, is that when it comes to control, is that it's a control that we try to do, but yet the best way for us to know that we do not have a spirit of fear, the best way for us to live a life that honors God, the best way for us is to actually give that control up. Not to have that control of our life. Not to have that control of what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna handle things, how I'm gonna handle things with my siblings. How many of you have brothers or sisters? Or how many of you are gonna handle things with your parents? Or how many of you are gonna handle something there at school? Well, I know this. You gotta take your controller and you gotta let it go. And you can't be the kind of person who wants to have control, but you actually have to give control to God. And I encourage you with that as we've heard about this verse all month long, to remember that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and a love and a sound mind, self-control. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna live in a spirit of fear? Or are you gonna live in a spirit of power and knowing God's love, and through that having self-control?